Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 427. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez,
What's up, people? How's it going? Still in this mysterious looking location.
Chris Saley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero,
Yo, yo, yo.
Brett Murdoch,
What up, people?
and Brian Manjoma.
If you're going to arrest him, then just arrest him.
Oh, boy. Have you seen these AI-generated arrest memes, Brian?
I've not, but they're probably really funny.
Yeah, no, like my whole timeline's just filled with that, but we could talk about that off air. Anyway, Manny, you are still at the GDCs.
Yep. Got to see some fun stuff today. Got to go to the show floor and look around, see some of the new tech. A lot of motion capture studios out there. Couple of I got to see the Made in New York people, which is New York's where essentially they sort of help to fund studios that are creating games in the state. So if you don't know, Made in New York is a thing that was started by, I think, Bloomberg during the during his time, or possibly I think it was Bloomberg, to essentially give an additional stipend or a tax cut to anybody who is going to be filming something inside of the city. So if you ever see at the end of some movies, it actually says "Made in New York." Some like the movie Stealth has it at the end, and a bunch of other things. And so they're also extended that into games. So now they're going to help fund studios that produce games in New York with New York employees. So very cool stuff. A lot of really great people out there. Also got to see some, the Microsoft had a little section there devoted to their independent division. Officially, I was just more of an attendee. I couldn't really, obviously, just like E3, I can't go into the back behind the scenes and stuff like that. So it was an interesting show. I always wanted to check it out to see what the whole deal was about. I mean, obviously, since we had been going to E3 for all those years, before that, I had worked on a game, and the guys who working on it went to GDC to sort of talk to people and all that stuff, and I always wanted to go since then, and that was like 2008. I want to say 2008. So yeah, good stuff. Lots of blues, a lot more swag than E3. I can tell you that.
Oh, boy.
Nah, they're just all right, man. Unreal had Epic Games had like a beast booth, like this huge ass booth with a bunch of demo stations, stuff like that. And man, they were giving away T-shirts like water, just pouring out T-shirts. They had popcorn and like what do they call that stuff? Like coffee, anything you could want there. I'm like, damn, they treat you good here. I'm like E3, they're just that back area with the food, you used to see in the E3 things. That was only for the special people. No, they opened it all up because I feel like in general they want to get more people, wanted people to sort of use their engine because every single, so many games run on Unreal these days. And also, obviously, Unity too, which was right next to it. So they're like the Sony and the PlayStation of I would say of the GT universe because it's developers. So it's all about Unreal and it's Unity. So it was good stuff.
Nice. No, that's cool because we always talked about GDC for years and stuff. So it's cool that one of us finally got to go and regale the people with stories.
Being that I also didn't see any of the things, but they do give you at least you access to what they call the GDC vault. So there's a lot of talks and stuff that are very sort of locked down that not everybody can go to. But if you have the vault thing, you can go if you're into like this sort of information, it's actually available on YouTube. Like if you're interested in finding out how they did the graphics in Guilty Gear or Skullgirls or any other games like this year they did God of War. So they had the team of God of War who talked about all their shaders and all their texturing stuff. So eventually all that stuff does show up on their YouTube channel, but that's not for a little while. But you can still go through there and look through a lot of really great, interviews. They have a Yoko Taro one that they did years ago, about how his game design works. A lot of cool stuff. So, but we're going to eventually get access to some of that stuff so we can all watch that, at least, my team can watch it stuff. So it'll be good to see all that stuff and get some fun information about that.
Good stuff, man. All right, so this week in gaming, not a lot happened, and I'm going to be very upfront about it. I am very tired of talking about Activision Blizzard. So moving forward, unless there's something big, like it finally comes to an end, we're done with that. At least for the main show. If you guys want to ask us about it, you go right ahead. You can ask us about it. We'll talk about it then. Because remember, Throwdown Questions is your show. But for this one, I'm done with this bullshit. It's fucking tiring right now. Go ahead, Brett.
Can we give a bullet point or just like a play-by-play? Like, this happened. Moving on. Like, the only thing that happened this week is analysts say that Sony showed their hand. Done.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're fighting again. It's stupid.
But yeah, the basic thing is like, oh look, Sony has been a little too insistent, and the regulators are starting to be like, wait a minute, it seems like you're trying to lead us, and that is the speed of news that happens now. That is the only thing that has changed.
Yeah, the whole thing this time is Redfall. What was supposed to be a PlayStation game, and now it became an exclusive because of the deal, with Bethesda. So it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, you see, it happened there, and that's what spurred up a lot of the conversation this week.
Mm-hmm. Continued stupidity. Moving on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. So like I said, you guys want to ask us stuff about it, go ahead. But the guys in the chat seem to be happy about it. That's good. They seem to be happy about that. Good. I mean, listen, I know you guys are always talking about it in Discord. Keep it up. That's great. Again, you want to ask us about it for the question show, sure. But I'm just tired of this shit, and this kind of leads to I don't know, like because something happened in the Discord last week. I didn't want to bring it up during the Sunday show, but I think I'll do it at the end of this one because I think some of this Activision stuff is leading to a little bit of that bitterness you may be sensing on this podcast. So we'll talk about some of that,
Well, that and the fact that we all hate each other, but
yeah.
Besides that,
these guys.
But yeah, it's been stupid. Anyway, let's talk about some stuff. We'll get angry over some of this shit. Don't worry about it.
I'm mad.
So apparently, Starfield won't let you have sex.
Ooh.
I mean, who finds that surprise? I mean, other than people that played Mass Effect, I guess. I'm pretty sure you haven't been able to bang in any Elder Scrolls or Fallout game.
Yeah, in the Fallout games, you can't do anything, can you?
Yeah,
no.
you kind of.
There's romance options. You can romance. But there's no sex.
Yeah, it's like a relationship. I think from Fallout 4. Was it Fallout 4? Where you had a relationship with goddamn. But yeah, I forgot the name, but I don't remember anything explicit like that. But yeah, I don't know why people are surprised. People clamoring about this feature or something.
I don't know. It seems like something that the media wanted to gravitate to for some funky reason. To be honest, I don't remember any of those games, the Elder Scrolls or Fallout games, actually having essentially that little bit of kissy stuff that you see in Mass Effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kiss and fade to black. Ooh, no! What's gonna happen without?
Oh my God! Whoa! And then they wake up in a bed with their tops uncovered. Ooh, so racy. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Does it really matter that you can't do implied nasty?
I think they're just looking for things that like next we're gonna hear like Starfield doesn't contain real-time sneezes. It's a non-issue that looks like the media wants to gravitate to just because they heard them. Who gives a shit? Is there somebody out there that's like, oh man, I can't see this
Can't see the PG sex in a rated M for mature game.
Yeah, because there's few games that go as hard as like The Witcher. They go crazy in that, obviously. But no, you're right. Like the Bethesda games never really had that, so why would you expect that for this one?
I mean, 99.9% of games don't have that.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So.
Yo, man. Why didn't Halo have it? What's up with it?
Yeah, it did. The TV show did. That caused controversy.
Oh.
Here's my question, though. Why did Animal Crossing have any sex?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know what you asked that question.
I mean, you get to make a bedroom, I think.
Yeah, you can get a queen-size bed in your bedroom. You can invite your buddies over. Mm-hmm.
I like how Manny's roboting him.
Yeah, Manny's roboting. Yeah. Oh, that hotel Wi-Fi.
Yep, gotta love it.
Yeah, I didn't know this was actually a thing people were anticipating, or maybe it's interesting. I guess.
Oh shit! It's a puddle gate.
It's a puddle gate. Well, here's the thing: every exclusive that comes out has to be controversial in some way. So I guess that's going to be this game's controversy. Think about it. Like in the last 5 years, what exclusive came out that wasn't mired in controversy?
I mean,
yeah.
Like seriously, all of them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Forza.
Yeah,
I'll give you Forza, but that's because no one cares about racing games anymore.
Yeah, but you're right.
Oh no, man.
Like they used to, I guess.
Forza, you can't race in other countries. That's racist against other countries. I don't know.
I hear they race swapped the helmeted driver.
Yeah.
So you can't actually tell, but you can't prove me wrong either.
Are they fan baiting? Oh man, J-Shep's throwing in some bombs in the chat. We'll get to some of this stuff. I don't even know most of this. That's awesome. Did you guys talk about this shit in the chat? Because all the stories I picked up tonight, I literally just got from the Discord chat.
It's probably some early stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to some of this stuff. Thanks, man. Go ahead, Brett.
Oh, I just said Tony is tired. Damn.
Yeah. Oh no. It's been a week. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about Starfield?
I mean, I hope that this doesn't lead to the point where people feel the need to fan bait. Like, well, if they're going to have a controversy, may as well throw a red herring out there, because that's fucking stupid. And I don't want to deal with that every time a game releases.
Oh God.
So there's one thing. I forgot to check. Let me check the show notes while I talk real quick to see if it's a future topic. No, it is not. So
feel free to toss it in, man.
So what I do want to mention, there was some person that apparently worked on Spider-Man 2 that said something about anticipating it in September.
Oh, I saw that. Like, is that even newsworthy? Like,
well, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because if it indeed is in September, and Starfield is also in September, I'm like, is that a good if those times cross, that's going to be a point in contention.
Yeah, well, yeah, because there's two ways that they could go about it. They could view it as they need to have something to compete with Starfield, or it could be a terrible idea to try and compete with Starfield.
But it's Spider-Man. I don't think Spider-Man's going to be in any danger here.
They could run the risk of splitting their player base, but I can see them trying to do that to undermine, because what are they going to say? Like, otherwise they got nothing. They're just going to be dunked on all September.
Yeah, because my line of thinking was, it's like, since this whole Activision stuff's going around, maybe Sony, to be petty, is like, okay, you're releasing the biggest game you've ever released for your console on this month. We'll just release Spider-Man on your asses. And
dude, I mean, I was even thinking like Starfield is just going to dominate the news cycle. When we were talking even just earlier, I was like, fuck, man, just wait until every fucking YouTube video is like, check out this new bootstrap that you can unlock through this quest, or like, here's how to build the most efficient spaceship, or here's how to, it's just going to be all over the fucking place. So it's not a dumb idea for Sony not to let that just fucking social media just blow up over Starfield for a month while they got nothing. If they can throw Spider-Man out there, honestly, since Sony has a bigger fan base, they might hope to drown out a lot of the Starfield noise.
That's speculation, though, just so people know.
Yeah,
it is speculation. What I'm saying is that might be a successful tactic. Like, you could genuinely take a little bit of the Starfield buzz out of the news cycle by doing this. So with that in mind, I can say, like, yeah, I can see them doing that. It wouldn't be a bad move. It's definitely a bit of a sucker punch, but that's okay.
But this is Insomniac.
I was about to say, yeah, was that like an intentional like pun?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, because like, what was it, Tony Todd? He's apparently in the game. Like, what did I miss? You know?
Yeah.
So that's cool. Anything with Tony Todd's nice, but so yeah, apparently he said that the game's dropping in September or something, and people are like, oh shit.
So let me ask you guys straight up then, like, do you think that they should release Spider-Man in September, or do you think that they should just not try and compete with Starfield?
Spider-Man will probably destroy Starfield, to be honest.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, if they want to kick it out of the news cycle, Spider-Man is the game that'll do it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, to me, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, as soon as Spider-Man drops, that's going to be the game that's going to eat up all the attention, regardless. You know, so it doesn't really matter. It's like, even if Sony doesn't have a game for September, it's like when Spider-Man comes, that's it. That's going to be one of the highest selling games of the year easily, you know?
I don't know, man. Like, I think gone are the days where we think of each one in a vacuum. Sony has shown pretty extensively that they are out to just put a stick in the spokes of anybody who's tried to compete with them.
Well, let's be fair. That they didn't do that with Horizon. Let's release it when Elden Ring comes.
And that wasn't even like, that was against a third party, you know. I think Sony just releases shit when they want. They don't really care, you know.
Well, no, the usually, you remember, a lot of the late releases are usually things that are not like I wouldn't say high priority, but things that are like ground shakers. I feel like the ground shaking time, that's in the winter for the holiday season.
Yeah.
Then these releases at the end of the fiscal year stuff, that's just an explanation point on top of whatever they did for the year.
And see, that's why I'd be curious.
And they usually, just like the movie industry, they put the stuff out there that they don't have a lot of faith in.
Well, and see, that's why I'd expect Spider-Man to drop for their November. You know, like, drop that shit for holiday sales. That's your big title. That's when you drop that shit. Mm-hmm. To push it forward to September, because we were like, September's an odd time for Starfield to come out, but all right. Mm-hmm. So, like, I can't really see a reason to release in September other than to try and compete with Starfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like November is the equivalent to prime time for the video game industry for game releases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably because the proximity to the holidays.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make that. That's too much speculation for me. But who knows?
It's definitely speculation, but it just seems like it very much seems like if Tony Todd is right, it definitely feels like a sort of chess move by Sony.
Yeah. Hey, Brett. Here's
essentially
one,
a block.
Yeah. Hey, Brett. Here's one for you because Ace Ali specifically said that Starfield is only going to sell like 600 copies. Everybody's just going to be playing on Game Pass, and Spider-Man's going to sell a lot more copies.
Ooh,
he's not wrong.
I don't disagree with it at all. Like, I think the nature of warfare has changed in the console wars, though, and it's now more about who's going to have more Reddit posts, who's going to have more social media interaction, who's going to be tweeted about more. Like, what are people going to be tweeting about this month? Because that turns into game sales as well. That does turn into revenue generating, and that's why I say, like, I kind of view that chess move as Manny puts it, that it would be smart for Sony not to let Microsoft bask in successful limelight, because that directly counters their narrative that they're fucking up, shooting themselves in the foot, and have no idea what they're doing. Like, the more people associate Microsoft with successful games, the less market share you're going to dominate. So, it's the same way, like, if bad PR comes out, you push out a new news story to push it out of bump. Like, these are all tactics that are known to happen, and it would be very smart for Sony to try and just push Starfield out of the limelight. The problem with that is Bethesda games are classic slow burns, right? There's so much memeability. There's so much showing you this secret blank or telling people about your story in a Reddit post. There's so much sharing that it keeps these games going longer. So it may not work.
Well, I mean, you see it a lot with the From games where it's like they have that initial bump, and then they just keep bumping because there's just so much to find and so much to interact with within the game. Oh, hey, did you know this? Hey, did you know your Brotherhood of Steel? Hey, like, in other words, it's all these little things on top of things, and it keeps so when the Spider-Man narrative is already done with, I would suspect the Starfield narrative of constantly finding things and stuff will continue to happen. Sort of like the way Skyrim and the Fallout have.
Yeah. Yeah. First you get tips and tricks, and then you get the
lore videos. Right?
Yeah, you definitely get the lore videos at the back end of things, and you get things with the new patch, we're going to rate all the weapon classes. And you're like, fucking Christ, this is just YouTube filler content bullshit, but it gets clicks. It gets so many clicks.
Let me. This is Vati video. Let me tell you about the Brotherhood of Steel in Starfield.
I'm gonna be real here. I just watched a 45-minute long Vati video thing, and halfway through, I'm sitting there. I was like, I don't even know why I'm watching this. I know all this. Ask these guys. I took the time. I put in the work to figure this shit out.
You watched that 40-minute the movie he did, right?
Yeah,
it was a
and I was like, I know all this though.
Yeah, about what's the thing? I mean, he has a good way. I mean, that's a whole skill in itself, to just trying to present these sort of videos, and again, it helps to essentially, at least for the Souls games, it helps to sort of decipher some of the lore of them.
Oh yeah,
but also
he still got my click. I knew all this shit, and he still got my click because I was like, I wonder if I missed anything.
No, you didn't. but he did put it together nicely. But I think that's the same thing with the way the Fallout games and the Bethesda sort of RPGs work. It's like there's all these things on top of things on top of things, and cause and effect, which is fascinating. And I think once the hot burn of Spider-Man is over, you're going to be continuing to hear about things with Starfield.
Yeah, I still get Skyrim lore videos that pop up. Apparently, after 10 years, the player base just finally figured out some new shit about the Ebony Knight, and somebody made like a 45-minute video on it. I was like, 10 years later, y'all still putting this shit together. Fuck. I mean, that's awesome. I don't know of any other games that can do that. Even like big, expansive open world games like GTAs or things like that. Like, it's just content generating, and that I think is why Microsoft spent the money, because that continued content generating is just the kind of beast that's going to push those games as subscriptions. So I don't think they're aiming to sell that many copies. I think they're looking to hook people for a fuck of a long time on their game.
But I mean, yeah, well, there is always that possibility that again, remember, it is also something that's releasing on PC. So as a you get something you can buy. So
it is. So I think it would behoove us at some point to really sit down and be like, okay, so what is going to be the new metric that we judge these things by?
We've been asking this question for that's 3 years.
Yeah, I know. One of these days we need to come up with an answer.
I don't know if we can.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've been trying
because like the public again, like what we were saying, like the public opinion of this thing can definitely start, and having those games that people want to play can most definitely start attracting a bunch of people. So it's like, hey, you can pay $60 to play one game, or you can pay $60 to play a bunch of games, And
But
if they're smart with Starfield, I would say they would want to have some other titles around that to be also was just as attractive.
Oh yeah.
Not-
They're in a good place if that's the beginning of things. They release a major release every 3-4 months, like we said, 4 a year. They can. I've watched Nintendo string a handful of releases across a whole year in, year out for most of my gaming career. I know that shit can work. It's not optimal, but as you know, we'll see if they keep it up or if this is just. We'll see you next year, guys. Enjoy Starfield.
I feel like what Xbox needs to do in order for us to even try to gauge what's a success or not is to have something similar to what Steam does, and where they show like the most played games.
Oh yeah.
Like, so what people are playing, because they can, Microsoft can release a day. Oh, Halo Infinite had 10 million players on launch date. Well, how many did it have a week after? So like, it's like, it's one of those things where it's difficult to gauge where we don't have sort of the metadata of all of the statistics of what's going on. So it's because when it comes to regular console sales, sort of traditional ones, it's just like how many copies did it sell, because it's a pretty defined value sort of that they're gaining from selling, that it's much easier to gauge. So that's why it's even difficult to try to compare sort of what makes a successful game in a Game Pass type of world.
Yeah, because they're playing by their own rules basically. So it's like, because you can't compare, I guess, subscription numbers to sales numbers. So I don't know. This is why it's hard to reconcile that, Brett. Why we've been struggling to answer this question for like 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah, one, you can't even then, like, I could say, like, okay, so you sell a $60 game to Target, right? You're going to make $30 back from it. You take that, you reduce costs, you're making like $20 profit per game. That equals X amount of time on Game Pass equals subscriptions. But you can't even do that because you don't even know, did they already have Game Pass? Are they getting Game Pass for Starfield? Are they getting Game Pass for other games or other reasons? You can't tell why somebody's there. So the only thing we can go off of right now is, I guess, looking at PC sales in isolation. But the problem with that is, like, Sony doesn't release most of their games on PC for a year.
Yeah, so I don't know. So it's like, yeah, you could try to figure this out. You're not going to get an answer.
Actually, I'm curious. Can I kind of pose that to the chat? You guys don't have to answer now. I'd just be curious. Like, I think more important than what we say is what the general public says, what our listeners say is a kind of good metric. You know what I mean?
Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
I'm asking, like, chat, general question. What do you guys think is the best metric for judging the success of a game moving forward, seeing as how the playing field has changed?
All right, I'll look at the answers in a bit. Good stuff.
Well, and just to mention, the playing field has changed for only one system. Not the other ones.
Yeah, Nintendo and Sony are still doing it the way it's always been done. Game sales equals success. So that's good to keep in mind. All right. Anything else you guys want to say about this? We're talking about Starfield, by the way.
Oh, I was going to say Elden Ring for no reason. Elden Ring. Anyway, Starfield. There you go.
All right, so let's move on here. So this one's interesting. So Redfall actually did have a PS5 version, and it was canceled after the Bethesda deal.
Oh, okay.
Ain't that something? So this kind of goes, and again, we try to avoid it. We can't. This is why Sony's like, we can't really trust these guys. They
never said they weren't going to.
Yeah. But basically, it lets you understand where they're coming from, But and by the way, this isn't a rumor. This is from someone from Arcane said this. They said we got bought by Microsoft, and that was a huge sea change. They said no PlayStation 5. Now we're gonna do Game Pass, Xbox, and PC. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not even speculation about that. It's just right there.
No, there is. That's it.
In other news, water's wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and if this was one of those ones that was supposedly, they had all the dots and the I's dotted and the T's crossed, they well, one thing about a lot of that is I think, well, no, you can't break contracts even if you like. It's sort of what's happening with the stuff with 20th Century Fox, right? They can't. A lot of the X-Men people can't not be the X-Men people because they have these contracts, and a lot of this stuff is just them waiting for a lot of the actors' contracts to sort of,
Oh, is that what the holdup is?
That's a lot of the holdups that's going on right now. It's a lot of the the first class actors still have contracts that they know if they ever do make another X-Men film, they have to be in it.
Yeah, they have the rights to play that character for X amount.
They have the rights. Yeah, so like that means the lady who played Storm the girl who plays Storm would play Storm, and I think that's also partially how they've been able to get in, Stewart and a few other people. But then again, I don't know if Stewart still has a contract with them. But anyway, it's very similar sort of situation. If they had these contracts already in the works, that means that they breached those contracts because they just canceled them. But I think but that's what I always said about the weird the thing about Starfield. They never officially said Starfield was going to be for anything. They just said Starfield was in development. But did Redfall have one of those things that just said, "Hey, coming out for PlayStation," and then just not?
They never announced it, though.
Or was there a contract in behind the scenes that said, "Okay, yes, there is going to be a PlayStation 5 version." If not, then their rights to essentially cancel any sort of development they have on there, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that's where it was. They probably had ordered dev kits to help develop the game for PlayStation. There was internal ideas of we're going to make this for PlayStation as well, but there probably weren't contracts signed. That or when they decided what games were going to be released and what ones aren't, there was some sort of arbitrary time deadline. But like you said, contracts are hard to break. So I'm guessing it was because before you sign a contract with PlayStation, you kind of agree to take on their developer tools. And I'm pretty sure you sign something when you download their dev tools. So if they were developing for PlayStation probably knew about it, or at the very least it was official within their development that we have downloaded these assets. We are developing this for this system as well. So I guess Sony may not have even known until they said something.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that was the thing. But yeah, unless they signed any sort of deals with them, yeah. They might have been.
That isn't. I mean, there's a case,
There's a couple of situations like another version of this would be Alan Wake, which was supposed to be a PlayStation game until it wasn't. Until Microsoft swooped in at the last minute and essentially exclusivized it.
Yeah,
exclusivized it.
So here's the thing that I don't get. So does the community in general do they like exclusives or not? Because God of War and Spider-Man celebrating for being exclusives. Yes, they're developed in-house, but that doesn't mean they're not working with Sony's money, and Sony buys exclusivity with things like Final Fantasy. So how can you be excited that Final Fantasy is going to be a console exclusive, but be pissed about something like this?
Duh, Brett. It's easy. It's okay when Sony does it.
Oh, okay. Of course.
Yeah, at least with a lot of the fanboys, right? That's okay when they do it, even though they're both guilty of doing these things, buying exclusive, closing down deals, But again, people have bird memory when it comes to when Microsoft was doing this back in the day, when they were doing Microsoft came up with the idea of a launch exclusive. That was all of them because they couldn't get their hands on a full on exclusive. So all right, just lock it down for at least X amount of months when the news cycle is hot, and then release it a year later.
Yeah, I still think that think timed exclusivity is dumb as hell. I do, however, still
It's dumb. It's like a real weird half measure. It's like you know.
I still support exclusivity though. Always have, always will. I think exclusivity motivates you to make a game that is fun to play for more than just the 2 weeks after it releases. Right? Like that's how you get games like, and I know Red Dead wasn't that way, but that's how you get games like Red Dead where people put a lot of fucking effort into these games because they're going to kind of represent the brand. I think it just motivates developers to do bigger, more epic, awesome things.
And they're also showcases for the console, right? Nobody does it better than the actual companies that make the game, the company that had made the hardware, right?
Yeah.
You know, the God of Wars and the Halos, those were the showcases of those consoles of what they could do. You always could depend on an exclusive to be very good looking compared to maybe some of the third party things that came out.
Yeah. I mean, they were always the high watermarks, and the less exclusives we get, I feel like the more we're compromising. You'd think they'd be like, oh, well, now that we can release a game for all these platforms, we're comfortable spending a lot more money and really making it the best game it can be. But we just get loot box transaction bullshit because they're more worried about making money than making a good game. And I get in that system where that motivation lies, but exclusives kind of motivate you to also make a good game, not just a bunch of money.
Yeah. Also, again, you know, what you have on your machine, what you have on your platform, is the thing that attracts people. Especially again when you're talking about general audience sort of people. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to the game to the platform or console that has the things that they want. If you really like PlayStation style, you know, games with narrative and third person and all that good stuff, you usually have a safe bet of picking up a PlayStation console and getting one of those types of games. You get your Last of Us, you get your Uncharted, you get your those types of stuff. But if you want, like I think a lot of Xbox and it has been for a while now, is sort of reinventing what you go to their console for. Now, what you go to their console for is the big Bethesda RPG. Now it's not only just the Xbox console. I mean the Halo or the Gears of War console.
Yeah, I mean we've definitely talked about how they seem to be making a big play to be the RPG console.
At least the Western RPG console, they got a lot of them.
Yeah. But I don't think that's a bad thing because, I think we're all a little fatigued at how shallow RPGs have gotten, and some, actual true to form going back to more fully immersed RPGs as opposed to here's your God of War point system. I think there's
you mean RPG lights?
Yeah. Oh god, everything's RPG lights now. Give me some real RPGs again.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. I want to read some of the comments here. It seems that some of the guys are saying that one metric you could use to gauge success on Xbox is completion rates, not just like, hey, I started the game and didn't finish it. That's a good point.
Completion rates?
Would you kind of grade those along the same? Because most games are only completed by 25 to 35%.
Yeah, 35. For 35, that's a lot. It's actually at most it's about 25%.
Yeah. Okay. So if you grade completion on a curve, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Now my question to that would be what does that do for a game like a Bethesda game that pretty much just you never complete a Bethesda game, you only abandon them.
Yeah, maybe
I'm sure
that they get the hours played per game.
Hours played, I like that one.
Yeah, that could work. Somebody also brought up revenue generated, but that's going to be tricky because companies don't really give out those numbers, like revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, when it comes to Xbox, you can own at least as part of their what do they call it? Their service, they can only apply that revenue thing to how many subscribers they have.
I think that there's a good hybrid system in here. I think that we kind of circles back to they need to release Steam metrics. I want to see the highest number of concurrent players, the average number of concurrent players, the average number of hours played per user. Like, that would be really useful information, because that's the shit I look for on Steam, right? You look at the rating system on it, you look at how many people have rated it, you look at the hours of the people who are doing the rating, because like there are games that I'll be like, people be like, it's a pretty good game, I give it an 80%. You're like, bro, you spent 2,000 hours playing this game. Mm-hmm. I don't think a B- is really being super fair.
I mean, it's a weird one, because like what if they played that game to just try to get everything they could get out of it, and then they finally got to the ending and just said, 80, you know. And like the other part of like is like for reviews. To be honest, not many console people really review things. I know I for one don't friggin' star any of my games. It's just like whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. That's why you need the metric breakdown. Because if I could see like, okay, people are generally like, this game has 9 million concurrent players at its peak. It's generally having about 200,000 per hour, and most of the people who are playing the game have been playing, holy shit, for 300 hours? Okay, that's going to hit me a little bit different than if most of the people playing have played for 4 hours. Know what I mean?
Let's also be real. Microsoft is not going to do that.
No, they're not.
They're not.
They should, though. I think it'd be wise for them to. Like, I don't think it'd be a dumb idea for them to release that stuff. They need to start showing people that these systems are being interacted with, because again, they had the uphill fight of having to prove that they're successful, not just in the things that they release, but they're engaging with a large portion of the community. Nobody wants to go to a dead server.
Yeah, and also the purpose of why Steam does it, other than just part of being transparent, is it helps with people in the system, in the environment, find new games that everyone's playing. In Xbox, I don't know how people, other than the ones that Microsoft is explicitly advertising, how people find, oh, this is what everyone's playing right now. Let me get on this. It's on Game Pass. Let's.
But you can there's like a most played, but that's as far as you get.
Yeah.
Like current most played, it's like the top 50 most played games or something like that currently. But what does currently mean? 24 hours, a month, 6 months?
Mm-hmm. So it would be cool, like if they got more specific with those types of things, because Xbox, Game Pass is a platform. It's becoming a platform. So the more robust it can be, the better it'll be for the users.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at the chat real quick.
Literally chat.
The chat. Let me check the chat.
What up, chat? How you doing?
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, we're not going to get an answer to this anytime soon.
Nah.
All right. I'll move on here. All right. This one hurts.
Uh-oh.
And Brett, you did call this, and I hate to say that you were right, and I hate that you were right about this. Very true. Yeah. Right. Oh, by the way, Brett, here's the sad thing. I knew this was coming too. This is why I'm also upset. Mm-hmm. I knew it was coming. Laziness. Ubisoft is using AI to write its games. Big shock there.
Yeah, it's essentially using essentially thieving like code and stuff like that. They're essentially trying to automate a lot of that sort of stuff.
The background chatter.
Yeah, the problem about a lot of that, and I was talking to some developers about this. It's like at this point in time, AI cannot write new code, and you like thing about it is most of the time it's all stolen code.
Well, I don't think it's writing code so much.
This is for dialogue for background.
Yeah.
Characters.
There's
this is for dialogue for background characters.
Yeah.
When you're hold on. When you're like walking down the street and you hear two people having a conversation, that's the shit that it's writing.
Okay.
So the crowd chatter, because apparently, and I didn't know this, apparently they sink an awful lot of time and money into that shit. You wouldn't know it by the results, but apparently it's a lot of people's full-time job to write compelling things that they just fucking say as you walk by.
Oi, what's going on there? I mean, as long as they're using it to vetting all the text that's being written out there. You know what I mean? They better be yes they're sending an AI to write like background dialogue, but they better be looking at that background dialogue. There better not be some crazy ass shit popping up back there because they you know what I mean?
Well, I think that I think the big difference here is they're not using AI to write it and then have it checked. I think they're implementing the AI so it kind of just spins off dialogue on its own.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
So it's like they're teaching it to say shit, but not important shit. So you might hear some things that like, and it can work because a lot of times you do walk down the street and somebody says something batshit insane that makes no fucking sense. You turn around like, the fuck they just say?
Yeah,
and it's. Okay. I saw the video on it. It doesn't seem like it's too impressive the way they did it. It's not like ChatGPT kind of stuff. It's more like, okay, we have a character here. Okay, this character, we need a couple of dialogue scenes. Let's give it what type of character it is, and based off some certain inputs, it'll just give you like sort of this decision tree of dialogue that it generates, and then they generate that dialogue, and I guess they give it to the voice actor, and then that's what they do to.
I mean, they don't even have to do voice actor anymore.
I want to say, I called this a long time ago. We talked about this on Throwdown. And I said, what if they hooked the AI and the bot methodology into like something like DeepMind? Just back then, ChatGPT didn't exist, right? Yeah. There was just whatever Facebook had, their weird shit, and DeepMind, right? And remember, DeepMind was beating like the world's best Go players and all this stuff. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. What if they tied the AI into the NPCs and the bots, and just like it could dynamically fluctuate difficulty and whatever. So now this is the next step. I don't know. I think if they tied ChatGPT in there, everybody would be walking around reciting poetry or something. It would be weird. Yeah. It would be equally as weird. It wouldn't be dumb. Like, is this guy talking about carrots and Saturn? Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? It would just be like weird, profound shit. Like, what the hell? I walk into Harvard poetry.
It would just be spewing out sections. I mean, to be honest, I don't think this is a bad thing, because again, if it's taking, there is so, especially with massive games like that. Unless things need to be said that are really important, like, man, that when that fucking tower exploded and all the assassins jumped out, that's some crazy shit right there. Now you need somebody to write that, but if you need somebody to be like, oh, I talk about my carrots, whatever. You can toss it to the AI.
Well, okay. Here's the way, and I'm kind of disappointed here because, of course, it goes this way. They could use it to create some really interesting dynamic interactions, but what they're doing, what they're doing here is they're just finding a way to not hire writers or voice actors and cut corners to save money. So basically, you don't have to hire the writer to write all of these inane babbling things. You just plug in a basic chat GPT that has some certain parameters set to it. You set that to, I showed the thing that didn't sound like Tony, but sounded real enough to possibly be a person. Like, there's cadence in those things anymore. You don't have to send it to voice actors. You just plug in a bunch of voices. You plug in a background text generator, and you kind of cue it to some keywords that you can slip in there about, like, oh, that's the guy that killed the dragon. My shovel's so big.
I definitely think that laws need to catch up to all this stuff. This stuff is accelerating way too fast. And I think likeness would cover your voice, too. So imagine they just cut out, like, pick your voice actor or actual Hollywood actor. They got enough of his voice from a movie or her voice, and just throw that shit in an AI, and all of a sudden it's talking like them. Even like somebody who's deceased, right? Imagine.
Yeah. Well, there's actually stuff that protects all of that. Like, you're not there are whole of firms that are devoted to essentially protecting the likeness right and the vocal rights or whatever of dead actors.
But that's here. That's not stopping somebody in another country from making a game. What's to stop me from, like, setting up shop in Costa Rica, and then all of a sudden I put Lance Reddick in my game, right? And you got enough of his voice from all the stuff he did, how that would sound his memory. But if I'm just some guy in another country, I wouldn't give a shit.
I think what they're going to do is they're just going to have samples. Like, it doesn't take much to just pull a guy in from the street and be like, read this sheet. You have him read the sheet 4 times. Or like, here's your $50 food voucher.
That's
now get
it.
the fuck out.
And then he has like 10,000 words in the game.
Yeah. Like you just,
that shit is frightening, man.
Yeah, just read 40 pages from this dictionary, and then we can simulate you saying anything. And what's going to happen is you're going to have firms, right? They're going to have basic brokers who it's going to be a race to the bottom to scoop up the most randomly recorded voice packets, the most
which also very
public
much
access
exists,
art, the most down on their luck artists who are willing to sell the rights to their entire backlog of arts for penny on the dollar because it quote unquote creates passive income.
The voice thing actually does exist, and there are packages that you can get that. Obviously, which they've had voice actors. They trained them on voice actors, so essentially say a bunch of stuff. A lot of YouTubers actually do use these things.
Yeah,
where they've essentially have at least a voice that they've done it, or they've also essentially trained it to talk like them. A lot of YouTubers are like that, where essentially if you listen closely, you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound like a person. It sounds a little flat, and a lot of times they use it to do narration.
Yeah, and so using it in the background, people are not gonna really notice. I doubt any of these lines this time, like. From here on out, those kinds of things, I doubt that shit is ever going to be recorded again. You can cut a whole. Unless they are so much cheaper.
Unless the only thing I would say is the only time I would think it was like they would probably just hire them for like real actual situational things. Like in other words, like if it's really plot related or anything like that.
Oh, but those are main characters. I'm talking strictly the background character. The background chatter.
Like background character, background chatter, just like yammering around in the background. Yeah,
that's just never going to be recorded again.
Yeah, definitely. It sucks, but at the same time, I can understand why they did it, and it's weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just wish that they would have used it to create like if you're going to use it. I understand that baby steps and you're going to put it somewhere innocuous at first, but like let's use it to give us more dynamic dialogue options, right? Like I hate running to the end of a dialogue tree. I really do. It is such an immersion breaking thing.
Yeah, like you keep talking to the guy and he's finished off whatever he's going to say.
Yep, he's gone back into his loop.
In fact, doesn't High on Life do that where they literally sell you? Well, he's like, after this point, I am pretty much going to repeat the same thing that I just said before. So you just go about your way.
Yep.
They literally warn you about the report of repeating dialogue.
Yep. So I'd like to at least be like you're talking to them like what do you want? Quit looking at it. Just get out of here, man. Like, why are you still here? I'm just going to ignore you from now on.
Or they'll just be like situations that'll just be like, the trees are lovely today.
Yeah.
The moon isn't the moon beautiful tonight? It's the daytime.
They're just going to turn into like super rural farmers. Be like, looks like rain.
looks like rain today. Man, the sun is so hot. Just immediately after.
Yeah. Talk to Debbie today? Yep. What's new? Nothing. You're like, it's just going to bore you away from the conversation. You're like, all right, I'm done with this shit.
I'm just reading some of what Duke is saying in here. Imagine game credits, voice characters, AI, art, AI, directed by, AI, game played by, AI. Listen, man, like we're going. This is a bad slippery slope we're heading. It's like the game credits. Could you imagine that shit? Writers, Chat GPT or some shit. Like fuck,
dude, it is moving so fast.
I would say
this is scary, man.
I would think that, to be honest, like if they were smart enough, they probably shouldn't be using something like an open source thing like Chat GPT. They should be using their own AI trained stuff.
Yeah.
So at least,
yeah, that
so
would
at
be,
least
see, that'd be all right. Because the thing is, it inevitably opens up to plagiarism, which we've seen. That's not speculation. You know, we've seen a lot of plagiarism going on, or plagiarism with writing and then theft with art.
Dude, I'm telling you, I know the way this is going to go, and we're somehow going to plunge deeper into a dystopian society. Like, just you watch, the same kind of brokerage firms for the voices. You're going to see those people approaching artists like Manny, like me, and they're going to say, "I'll tell you what." They're going to seem real slick about it too. They're going to tell you what, you've done all this art. What's it doing? Sitting there, nothing, doing nothing for you, collecting dust. Now, what if I told you I could take all that old art that's just collecting dust and turn it into passive income? And then they get greasier and greasier with their sales pitch until they're doing infomercials where they're buying people's lifelong rights to their entire art while they're sick on their hospital bed for fucking pennies on a dollar. It's going to be incredibly predatory, and that's how they're going to be able to sell Hollywood these kind of art packages that can, they keyword it, they generate everything, they put it in all the little boxes and say, our suite of things can do everything from classic art to this to help you fill in everything. And we have voices and we have likenesses of actors who have recently died, who we bought the face rights from their children.
Jesus Christ.
Real quick, shout out to Dirty Death Dealer.
Oh, Dirty Death Dealer sewing on, brother.
Yo, gifting subs to Ace Ali. Shout out to you, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Well, it's definitely not AI.
Yeah, no, he's not AI. Yeah, no, Dirty Definitely is the truth, man. He's been with the Throwdown since day one. Shout out to him. But yeah, this is a horrible dystopian future we're living in. Oh man,
I saw this guy talking about. I guess Microsoft announced their tie into GPT-4 for programmers.
Yeah,
and it's called like GitHub Copilot X. So they had Copilot, which was basically going into private forks and repos and gathering code. So when you ask it, like, "Oh, I need to write a REST API," it would just give you this stuff, and people were saying, "Hey, I wrote that," And so it was. So now they have this shit. Now the AI is writing it, right? So now you can tie it into your like IDE, like Visual Studio Code. You launch this thing, and while you're writing, you can be like, "I don't want to refactor this. Hey, Copilot, refactor this code for me," and it just did it. Like the guy showed it. He's just like, "Yeah, I want to split this up and do this," and it just fucking did it. I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm gonna become a blacksmith or something.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because like one of the jokes I said on Twitter was like okay, well, this thing's probably going to put me out of a journalism job because they already have AI written news. I'm like, oh, that's okay. I'll start writing novels. Oh, can't do that because they already have AI written novels. Yeah, I'll learn the code. Oh, I can't do that because the fucking AI's taking over. So yeah, Chris, I think you're right. Blacksmith.
Well, the thing is that you're always. I think in general to make new code, you're still going to need people to vet these codes.
Sell oranges by the highway or something.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Is like people entering the field. Like, so you just get your computer science, your computer engineering degree. So now you're either junior or completely beginner. This thing could completely replace you because why would I need like a junior or mid-level guy to do a bug test or write unit tests or do it? I've seen people, like I was watching this guy do this. He's like, I had it write a unit test, I had to do this and stuff. I'm like, well, then if you're not senior or lead, like your job is in jeopardy.
Yeah. Bro, I've already seen like Reddit posts about people using ChatGPT to get jobs.
Oh yeah.
They are way underqualified for.
Oh God.
Because it's writing their resumes and cover letters and all that shit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Wow. Man, this is fucking bad, dude. But let it implode society. I've embraced it. It's like, all right, let's let the ending come. It's like you can't fight it. It's gonna happen. Let it just fucking wash over you.
Bro, let's be honest. We're on the verge of planetary collapse. AI can't do any worse than this.
Nah, I wouldn't go that. I don't think we were on the verge of planetary collapse, but societal collapse for sure. I agree with you.
Okay, well, yeah, okay. Planet-wide societal collapse. Yeah, like
Yeah.
Human beings we're going to extinct ourselves in like the next 100 years or so. So like, I don't know.
Oh,
can AI really be worse than corrupt politicians?
Yeah. Nah, I don't think we're going to have human extinction. I think we're just going to have fucking World War III or something. But hey, you know, I just come to a point where it's like, just accept the madness because you can't do anything about it, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Roll the dice. Let's see what AI does. Maybe it'll be fun.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, why not? Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Everything's just terrible now, so embrace the terribleness, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking brutal.
Let's just shake shit up, see what happens. Probably going to be bad, but you never know.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some that'll cheer me up. Talk about Hellblade 2. Did you guys see that tech demo? Did you see that tech demo? Holy shit!
It's going.
Okay, so I'll be honest, man. When I saw that tech demo at first, I was like, "Damn, that's some good fucking." I thought it was from a movie. You know,
that's good CG.
Like no, that was in-game engine shit, man.
Fuck. Oh damn!
I'm like, you guys, you know, if you haven't seen it, click on the link I have here. It's like, fuck, like. I've said this like from the jump with Unreal Engine 5. Like that's the most impressive thing I've seen out of the current gen. Like fuck, you know. So you see this shit, I'm like, yeah, give me this. Like I need every game to be on this fucking engine. You know, it looks great. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I like the way they transitioned from that scene to the actress that did the scene.
That was dope. I like that. You know. Yeah, no, the game's hype. You know, we've been waiting for this shit for a while. Maybe this is the reason why it's taking so long. If that's the case, okay, keep it going because I'm. It's like I'm torn. It's like I want it now, but I also want them to take their time with it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, Unreal Engine 5 for life, man. That shit looks good. So that made me happy seeing that shit. That was also at GDC as well. That was revealed. You know,
that was also on the same day where we got that Final Fantasy 16
leak.
Can we talk about that real quick?
You mean the leak?
No, they showed a clip, at least what Carlos posted in the chat, right? And by the way, those people commenting were hilarious. Like, oh my God, listen to that music. Music. Like, did you see the guy crawling through the fucking wall on a current gen game? Really? We're still doing this shit. Granted, it was like 2 seconds. It's not like God of War where it's like, all right, go get and make a sandwich while Kratos is crawling through this shit. But still, it's like, all right, we still got to deal with this stuff, you know? Because I think we were asked,
get those hidden loading times.
Yeah, because I remember we were asked, like, what would you consider a next gen? I'm like, no more fucking loading walls, please. But
yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, but it got a little better, Brett, a little bit better. You know, it's like only 2 seconds, you know, but
I'm saying it's going to get worse before it gets better. Like, we are not near the end of this generation yet. Although we're getting
apparently we're halfway through, you know. Apparently we're halfway through.
Getting the pro consoles pretty soon.
You know? Yep.
God. You know, but Hellblade, that made me happy, you know. And you gotta grab onto the happiness nowadays, man. Shit is
no release date though.
Yeah. What happened?
No release date though.
Yeah.
So this is you know, correct me if I'm wrong here. This is an Xbox title, right? Like exclusive?
This is an Xbox title, yes.
Yeah.
And
it's an exclusive Xbox title.
Which is ironic because Hellblade 1 was PlayStation exclusive, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, well, Sony didn't think, hey, maybe we should keep these guys around. No, they just let them go and win. Xbox was like, gotcha.
Oh, I swear to God, like, Microsoft's like Krampus. You let your children run off too far, and it just like leaps in, goes, shoves in the bag, and dies in the night.
Here's the thing, like it. You know, obviously the studio could say no. I suspect that Insomniac probably said, nah, we're good. And obviously, since Sunset Overdrive didn't do amazingly, Microsoft just didn't make the offer. They're just like, all right, whatever, go do whatever the fuck you want. We don't need you here no more.
You can go.
You can go. What the fuck? You made a Spider-Man? God damn it! You know, that was the next boy. I think it like didn't Insomnia make Spider-Man and then Sony immediately snatched them up,
like yoink.
Right?
Yeah, I remember the running joke was like, wait, I thought they already owned them. You know?
Yeah, that was the running joke. I think the same thing happened with the Naughty Dog as well.
Yeah.
I thought they always did on them.
Yeah, no, Sony, they like to date, for a long time before marrying,
Dude, I don't know why
Well-
Sony hasn't bought Square Enix yet. Like, you guys have like you pay for exclusivity so often that half the time I'm like, oh yeah, I just assume any Square Enix thing's just going to be on PlayStation.
Yeah, but remember with Japanese, they don't really buy each other out; they merge. So it would be Sony, Square Enix. Remember, Square Enix is itself a merger.
Yeah,
they would. Yeah, they wouldn't. Yeah, like you have a better chance of them buying a Western studio, but not a Japanese studio. That's why you don't see it. You see it very often.
I mean, it'd be smart if they would.
I mean,
but I
I'm
don't
sure.
think they
Like,
can. That's the thing.
I don't think they that's that part of the business. I think it's just usually mergers that they do, and I don't think Sony wants to be called Sony's PlayStation Square Enix.
Yeah, that shit is crazy. All right, so there's that. Oh, I want to quickly run through some of the stories that Jay Shep posted. Shout out to you again, brother. We could do.
It's time for some rapid fire.
Yeah, a little rapid All right. First one here. Nintendo Switch ends PlayStation 5's 7-week sales streak in Japan. My thing is like, oh, I'm surprised. I thought Switch was winning this entire time, but that's cool. My thing is like, how are the Japanese fitting that big ass console in their little apartments?
I'm telling you, they're living in the console.
Yeah.
The console is their heater. They've replaced the heater in their homes with the PlayStation 5 console.
Yeah,
it's super effective.
Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. What else do we have here? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin becoming a game inspired by God of War. Nandato. What's all this then? Paramount.
I dare not to dream on that one.
Okay, so The Last Ronin is a comic book, right, Manny?
Yes, The Last Ronin is a comic written by Kevin Eastman. So it's a very interesting thing that Paramount is doing with the Turtles franchise. They're not only allowing the children's section of Ninja Turtles to exist, but they're also allowing the sort of hard core sort of dark turtle-y stuff also exist.
Yeah.
So
which one is the last one?
The Last Ronin is sort of like it's pretty much Ninja Turtles the end.
I was about to say,
I know.
It feels like it's the end.
Last Ronin the last of the Ninja Turtles?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And
which one of them is it?
It's Michelangelo.
Oh, okay.
But the cool thing is, it looks like he has all their weapons here in this.
He has all their weapons.
Yeah.
Now we on the 2000.
I want to pick this up.
In the 2003 Turtles, we did do a dark alternate reality where all the turtles died and everything in it.
Yeah.
So again, it's more stuff in that line. I think again, Eastman and Laird always sort of wanted the turtles to be sort of dark and all that sort of stuff. So, yep. So that it did so well that they want to make a video game. Very cool.
And it's going to be apparently like God of War, or inspired by God of War, I should say.
I mean, that's it's such a good fit. It's almost a little on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's grizzled old turtle man.
Yeah.
This comic is new. It came out in 2020.
It's
it's
totally
been out a
new.
while. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've always been meaning to check out the IDW Ninja Turtle. I heard they're really good. Like at least the first 100 issues,
But this one, The Last Ronin, is not connected to the IDW iteration. This is essentially
it's still
more
published
connected,
by them, though, right?
It's still published by them, but it's more connected to the classic Eastman and Laird turtles, and Eastman writes them.
All right, graphic novel, cool. I'll check it out. That sounds cool.
Yep.
Yeah, color. Yeah, thank you for telling us about J Shep. That's fucking awesome. All right. What else did he have here? Amazon Luna expands to Canada, Germany, and the UK. Yo, Stadia, where you at? Amazon Luna's still kicking around,
Dead and buried, man.
Remember, we talked about how Stadia, they just okay, yeah, we're done, like completely done, Luna's not bad. It's not a bad service, so that's cool. It's going to more places. You know,
I forgot it existed.
yeah. No, I mean you don't need
Mhm.
it. But next up here we have Valve announces Counter-Strike 2, a free replacement for CS:GO. Interesting.
Yeah.
Why are they replacing it?
I don't know. I don't know.
CS:GO is like a million
Maybe-
years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We're still running on the
CS:GO is
Source engine,
stupidly
right?
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
so
but, like, if they're just
it's
like,
running
hey,
on the newer Sorcerer engine.
Yeah, like here's a new one. Like, cool.
The one that they used
Okay.
for what was it the Aperture help desk or whatever.
Aperture
Yeah.
desk job. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just-
Aperture's got desk job. Yeah,
I'm just so not
and
used to.
Alex
Yeah, what's up, Brett?
I'm just so not used to.
Valve having new games.
Yeah.
No, not even that. Just like a company like just like doing things above and beyond. Like I was deeply suspicious about my Steam Deck for like the first 2 weeks I had. I was like, all right, where's the other shoe gonna drop on this thing? But yeah, like Steam just does nice things sometimes. I guess. Weird.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see if this new version is good.
Yeah, we'll see, but that's cool. And then okay, that was it. We ran through all those stories. Good stuff. All right, I want to kind of talk about something that happened in the Discord last week. Nothing crazy happened. Don't worry about it, right? But I think it was Dumekis specifically. He was wondering if some of us, and I'm guessing it was mostly me, had become too bitter lately when it came to gaming news and stuff. And I will not deny that. This whole generation, I've been very upset. Carlos and I specifically have been very upset over this whole generation. And, the thing with us is we're just honest. We're not going to like sugarcoat shit. We're going to tell it to you as it is. So, yeah, it is obvious that kind of bitterness and resentment has come out. I've thought about this for a while. I'm like, damn, like, we're over here, me specifically, I host a video game podcast and I have not a lot of nice things to say, but it's like, I'm not going to be like fucking, and I know I got a little bit of flack for saying this in the chat, but it's true. I'm like, we're not kind of funny. We're not just fucking like, oh, everything's great. We love video games. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We keep it fucking honest around here. I'm not saying those guys are being fake. It's just, we are not like them, So, but at the same time, I'm glad you guys said that in the chat because we don't want this to be a one-way situation, with exchange of ideas. Like, you tell us if you think we're doing something that may be questionable, and we will, address that, obviously, because that's what it's about. We don't do this show just for our own edification. We are here for you guys, give you like a really awesome show that you can be entertained by every week. So I'm glad you guys brought that up. But, at the same time, it is very difficult. I'm just speaking for myself right now. It's very difficult to be excited about games when we've had these new consoles for nearly 3 years with nothing to show for it. It's very upsetting, And then the fact that this entire fucking year, it's been longer than this now. We've just been talking about this bullshit Activision thing. It's like, we're talking about this instead of games, but that's because there are no real games that we can get excited about. Yes, there's a bunch of indie games and stuff, but let's just be honest. Most of us here don't really care about those. Some of us do, not all of us, So it's hard to get excited about what's happening in games in general, And then you toss in the general malaise the whole world has been feeling for, the last 3 years as well because of, the fucking lockdowns, that bullshit, the economy's bad. Things are just not good in general. So, I think it's just going to naturally come across, It's just how it is. So, I don't know if you guys have any more thoughts on that, but that's what I want to say. But at the end of the day, shout out to, you Throwdown fans. You guys are the fucking best. You keep us honest, man, because, again, we're not trying to deliver any fake shit, So, shout out to you guys. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, I do say you're a bit more doom and gloom about a lot of the stuff that's going on, Tony. I don't exactly agree that everything's so horrible and that everything is so bad. I do agree that this hasn't been anything to sort of look forward to for these current consoles. It's specifically why I don't own any of them. But I just take it. To be honest, for me, I'm just taking it all in stride. When these things come along, then I'll come along. But I don't, I see this generation as more of a than anything to really get angry about. To be honest.
Yeah, go ahead, Brett. I know you got some thoughts.
Bro, when did I become the optimist? How the fuck did that happen?
Well, no, you become the optimist when everybody else is all like, "Oh fuck!" Oh.
Yeah, that's
Like during when Breath of the Wild is on, you're like, "Yes, Breath of the Wild, yes, I love it." Ooh, and then everybody like, "Oh god, oh."
I mean, I just to be clear with you guys, because I get some people who are do get confused about this. Like, I get passionate about the things I believe in, but the opposite of love isn't hate; it's apathy, right? Like, if I get fired up about something, it's because I care about it and because I think it could be better. That's where my criticisms are generally levied from. But that being said, I've advocated for enjoying mediocre games. I own both new current gen consoles. I've raved about Game Pass, and y'all have just been like, well, I know it just seems like an Xbox fan, but like I'm just enjoying video games, y'all. Like I play more video games now than I have for fucking years, man, and I'm getting them for less than I normally pay. I'm finally getting some big releases that are coming out. I'm excited for the new Aliens game. I don't know why anybody's fucking talking about that. I know we'd heard about it before, but some new news just dropped on it. Turn-based tactical isometric Aliens RPG? Fuck yes, let's control a squad of Space Marines and go fuck some shit up. I love XCOM. Let's do this. So like, and I think Adam's there too. But like, here's the
Adam's
thing.
pretty. He's pretty positive about games still. You know.
Except when it comes to the a few months after Call of Duty comes out.
Yeah,
A few months before Call of Duty comes out, you won't get a more optimistic person.
And I think that's normal. I think that, and I understand that game companies need to make their money, but I don't think that people are making as much money as they would like to catch up. And I think that kind of a defense mechanism to being burned a lot is to start to be hesitant. And unfortunately, it's difficult to be hyped and hesitant at the same time. So I think a lot of people kind of protect themselves by not letting themselves get hyped. And I've long been a proponent of like, you know what the best part of Christmas is? Like the 2 weeks before Christmas. Actual Christmas is over. Boom. Like that. It's done. Right? Now you're just fucking cleaning up shit and scrubbing dishes and dealing with family drama for the rest of the fucking day. But when you're a kid, those 2 weeks before are magical. They're some of the best times, right? And that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm not super excited about pre-order. Like, I'm going to pre-order Diablo, right? Why? Because I want to be on that front end wave. That shit, it feels like a party when you do it. Am I going to be disappointed in shit? Sure, some. I played the demo. It seems snappy. It seems fun. As long as I stay away from people hating on it too much, I probably won't notice a bunch of this stuff until after I form my own opinion. So I just kind of plug my ears and be like, I'm enjoy what I can from this. I don't get these opportunities to kind of be out with this front row. I'm like, I can't play as much as some of these people, so I get left behind the dust if I, don't kind of plan for it. But there's fun to be had there. I'm be having a good time. I constantly have a good time. I have a backlog of video games. I have a backlog of games that I have started and I have not gotten to finish because another video game has come out and I've started playing that shit. That's fucking awesome. That hasn't happened in so long. I'm getting things coming out for both platforms. I guess what I'm just saying, like, I'm sorry, y'all, if I don't seem optimistic enough. I'll try and portray that better because genuinely, I fucking am. I'm a cynic, and a cynic is just a disappointed optimist.
Yeah, Carlos, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like I'm to blame.
Uh-oh.
Because when I got into Throwdown, I was the one that's like, what the hell's wrong with this generation with all these remasters?
Yeah,
and I feel
that
like
was last gen, by the way, people.
Last gen. Yeah, so I feel like I was like the first kind of doom and gloom guy for gaming. And gaming wise, I mean, when we talk about other stuff, I'm not as doom and gloom about that stuff. But when it comes to gaming, I feel like I've been amongst the most pessimistic. Not because I want it to be bad, because whenever we have our times throughout the generations. Last year or last generation, we had the Monster Hunter stuff, where we played with the fans. We played with did streams and all that. Me and Tony went through Halo. there's a couple of parts of the generation where we celebrated that definitely deserve to be celebrated. But once we have all of this sort of based in knowledge coming from at least for me, from the 90s on to today, sort of you come up with perspectives and anticipations and sort of know what you like and you don't like, and when you see stuff of what's going on, and sort of that inspiration and that excitement isn't as prevalent as it used to. You kind of sort of try to fight your way to try to find it. And then last year, actually, with Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok, I feel like I got that sort of excitement back. But in between all of those moments, I feel like it's a lot more space than it used to for me.
Yeah.
So I can't be as for Brett. He has his niches of things that excite him. When he talks about Grounded, I played the demo for the beta for Grounded, and I didn't enjoy it as much as he did, but he enjoyed it, and he got and he played when it came out properly. He enjoyed it more, and stuff like that. So you can't knock on people for enjoying the stuff that they do, but you can only speak on the experiences that are attributed to you. And when I think about that, I think about a lot about Manny when he mentions, I haven't found anything to buy a console for. So, why am I going to try to force anything when it's not necessary? I feel like if there were more moments in the generation to sort of, for me to go up and praise, I would do it. But as far as getting those moments, I feel like they're few and far between, and a lot of the conversations are predicated on and they're real conversations and they need to be had, but there are a lot of them more recently have been predicated on drama, in terms of just let's be real, the Activision Microsoft stuff. That's most of what the dialogue is, and that's because there aren't really a lot of those games that get me excited that would take over the conversation. Because if this stuff was going on when Elden Ring came out, and actually it did last year, no one was talking about this stuff. Everyone was talking about Elden Ring, including us.
Yeah, that's right. But again, the reason we have to talk about it so much is because there's nothing else to talk about. So one of the biggest games that came out this year, remasters.
Well, the remasters, and then there's the Hogwarts game that we don't actually play. Yeah,
that's not a game we really generally play.
That's nothing we go to.
Then we had that bullshit Forspoken. That was a big game, but look at that nonsense. So,
and I enjoyed and I can't. I'll sing the praises of Hi-Fi Rush till I'm blue in the face.
Yeah,
this is a fun-ass game.
Because in general, the negativity kind of outweighs the positivity. We've had like 3 episodes in a row of praising that fucking game, but no one's talking about that. Yeah,
I also feel like negative criticism and also negativity also they leave deeper marks in people's minds than actual praise, I would say, a lot of the time.
Can I need to share a fun fact I learned today.
What's up?
Of course I'm gonna now. Okay. The chick who was in Forspoken.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Did you know her other 2 major acting credits involve the recent reboot of Charlie's Angels and the Resident Evil TV show?
Yes, I am aware of that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
3 for 3. That's a fucking hat trick.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone, Brett is advocating for AI voice actors. So send your.
I mean, to be honest, like the
AI
one thing
voice
about
actor
it
would have
is
been better than her. But anyway, go on.
To be honest, it's not her fault that she's in something bad.
No, just
you know what I mean. Like it's not like it's not like I think the best way to put it was like when Bruce Campbell said, he's like, okay, somebody comes over to you and says the writer of Jurassic Park is making a new movie, and the director of this really great these really great films is going to direct it. What did you just make? Just made Congo. you know, you know, I can't remember who the director of Congo is, but it was a really great director. So it's like you don't know when you go out there. I'm sure she started like, oh yeah, there's this really crazy zombie thing that that's based on a video game you may have heard of called Resident Evil. Oh, fucking Resident Evil! Yes, let's do it. You know.
Yeah. Well, no, especially because she was, who she was co-starring along with. Like, if I were her, I'd be look at my agent and be like, you need to be reading scripts better.
But Lance Reddick was in there, and they said that he is possibly the best thing in that stupid Resident Evil show.
No, he absolutely is. But like, oh my god, I watched that whole thing at first out of horror and then out of hate because I was just like, I can't.
But then again, like Lance Reddick can just make garbage look good.
He did. But okay, so riddle me this. So the whole thing happens. Spoiler alert. You guys are going to really miss out on this. Yeah, he's not really Wesker. He is a clone of Wesker because Wesker died in the Resident Evil games. But here's the thing. He died in the Resident Evil games, and he was just a white jackass. And he came back a black father figure. How the fuck did that happen?
Current day.
It happened because it was another show. It was supposed to be another show that they decided to call Resident Evil.
Yeah. Like the whole thing was just like, okay, y'all can't even decide what's basic canon. Of like one of your main characters, a huge plot point hinges on that he's a clone, and that also he was a like Duke Nukem looking motherfucker when he died. Like. Huh? If you have big plot holes that fucking large, somebody ain't doing their job properly. And yeah, it was. If you're gonna make it a Resident Evil thing, like for Christ's sake, just hire some nerds. I swear to God, I'm gonna make a talent agency and just stockpile it with 5-star shut-in nerds. They'd be like, "Where's my Star Wars guys? George Lucas needs your help." And they'd be over there, be like, "Well, actually, you can't turn on a lightsaber like that." Boom, done. Earn my commission.
Yeah, I mean, so it's unfortunate. I mean, it sucks when that sort of stuff happens, where you're just like, you think you're going to be making some good stuff, and then it's like, hey, listen, you're going to be the main protagonist of this game. Yes, and the character's going to look like you, and you're going to do like, and okay.
Oh no, the thing that tickles me particularly is like the escalating stakes of the whole thing. Like, okay, so you made Charlie's Angels. How'd it do? It was not that well received, somewhat ignored. All right, so we're going to make Resident Evil. How'd that go? The fans hated it. All right, so we're going to do a video game. How'd that do? The studio closed.
At some point, people just need to start looking at it as, is she the problem or is it something else? Or, again,
I think I don't know. I don't think
there's like a possibility that maybe she's just had a run of bad luck. I think
it's more like that.
Again,
I blame her agent for not reading scripts.
Yeah, well, it's like she didn't write the shitty dialogue in Forspoken, and
yeah, that's true.
And
she didn't have to take that job.
Who the hell thinks that Charlie's Angels sequel is going to be good?
Yeah. The soft reboot Charlie's Angels sequel.
Hey,
I'm not going to blame. You're not going to blame her. Yeah, go ahead.
No.
For your first job, take whatever. Just get yourself out there.
I mean,
but like, really, when you read the script for Forspoken, you're like, did I just say like? Is this a typo where I just say, did I just blow that up with my mind?
Maybe she liked it. Maybe she liked the dialogue.
Well, I mean, to be honest, you're like, the thing about it is,
with my freaking mind.
The thing about it, it's like I'm sure she probably did it, but at the same time, it's like that's like a fucking starring role. What are you gonna say? No, she's not like fucking Norman Reedus who just says, "No, I ain't gonna say that fucking shit. I'm gonna say this."
Oh,
no,
man.
she says the line that she's gonna say.
That's crazy. Oh, but another thing, Doommaker said, he says that it seems some of us, and he was really talking about me. Let's just be real here.
Some of us.
Yeah, that's some
he's like looking at you.
Yeah, that some of us only seem happy when we're dunking on certain games and companies. Listen, I've already said this flat out. I think Nintendo is fucking trash. I'm not going to hide that, and I'm going to continue lovingly dunking on them at every single chance I get. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh no, I'm objective when it comes to Nintendo, and then turn around and shit on them. No, I will shit on Nintendo gleefully, and I will never stop doing that. I think they're fucking terrible. You know.
Here's the thing, Tameka, is are you looking at Nintendo from your nostalgia glasses because they brought you pleasure in the past?
No, he likes them now. He likes them now.
Are you looking at the reality of the sneaky shit that they're doing? You know,
Nintendo makes fun games. It's as simple as that. Like
Nintendo does make.
Here's the thing, Manny.
Does make very fun games.
Yeah, I'm okay, and I'm playing devil's advocate, right? Okay. Me, you, and Chris know Nintendo, and the rest of the guys know Nintendo too, but we really know how Nintendo operates, right? That does color our opinion. We will admit that. The regular person doesn't give a shit about that.
Hold up. So when it comes to Nintendo, you care about how a company fucking treats me, but you'll bend over and spread for Sony?
How am I spreading for Sony?
Brett referred to my earlier comment.
God damn it.
Yeah. Brett.
Brian, how did you win this conversation with literally 2 sentences?
Yeah. So Brett, okay, hold on, whoa. We got it. Now we just revealed the whole conversation. How am I spreading for Sony when I've literally have the PlayStation community hating on me for shitting on Sony this entire generation?
I mean, you could start by being apologetic and kind of on their side with the gaming price hike.
I've been saying games should be $70 since last generation. I don't give a fuck about that, you know?
I mean, I'm not the one, rooting for a multi-million-dollar corporation to take more of my money.
But you are rooting for Microsoft to take Bethesda, though, and Activision, right?
Yeah. Well, like I've said before, I think exclusives create incentive for better games that stand a longer test of time. All the high water games through gaming history have pretty much almost all been exclusives.
Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out where you're trying to go with this, man, because I've been highly critical of Sony this generation, highly critical of them, you know?
You've been more resistant to it. I'm like, I get what you're saying. I'm not saying foul play, but I am saying Sony has made some real dick moves that you kind of forgive because you enjoy the games.
I don't think I haven't forgiven anything. I've been dunking on Jim Ryan this whole time. You know, and as a matter of fact, I've been dunking on Jim Ryan since 2016. Ever since he made that stupid statement that people don't like old games, I've been on this man's ass forever. You know, I don't think I give Sony a pass, but I do go harder on Nintendo because I think they're fucking evil, and they've been evil way longer than Sony has. You know, ever since the 80s.
Give me an example of some terrible things that Nintendo has done that Sony hasn't done.
Okay, so literally telling other companies hey, if you put games on this system, you're not going to work with us anymore. They did this.
Sony has done that.
No, but to the large scale that Nintendo did in the fucking 80s, really, Brett? No.
You know what?
Nintendo mastered that shit.
Severity or timeline. If we're talking about crossing a moral line, I'm
not talking about morals, man. You know. I'm talking about the severity of it.
A stranglehold.
And then you have other things. I never heard of Sony having YouTubers go, you could only say good things about it. If you can't, you can't talk about our fucking games. You never had Sony do that, have you? Or Microsoft, to be fair. You know, you don't have these fucking ravenous fucking fans. The Nintendo fans are the fucking worst of all of them. You know, there's a lot of factors with this company that I personally do not like. You know, that Sony and Microsoft do not have. You know, I never had Sony and Nintendo fans go after my Sony and Xbox fans go after my fucking job like these Nintendo idiots have. You know, so I'm very bitter against this company, both personally and as a gamer. You know,
I mean, again, we're finding out that Sony has been playing a lot of dirty pool, and then the thing that kind of just smooths it all over is
nothing smooths it over. We've been calling them out. What the fuck are you talking about?
What's that?
We've been calling Sony out this entire time.
Yeah, and we constantly talk about Microsoft has done this, so it's no big deal. No, it sucks when anybody does this shit.
Yeah, we've never said otherwise. What are you talking about?
What in particular are you guys talking
about? I don't even know what the hell's going on. Like Brett's trying to make it seem like we've never come after Sony for they're doing bad shit when we've literally been doing that.
No.
I have I have the Sony PlayStation fans hating on me because I criticized the console. Look at today. I posted a one clip going, "Oh, look at this fucking Final Fantasy 16 has loading screens." Everybody came after my ass because it's a PlayStation exclusive. I am not here cheerleading for Sony at all. You know.
Yeah, I wouldn't completely agree with that statement 100%. But I think the crux here is, I'm not saying that you don't call Sony out. I'm saying that you like them and you hate them in kind of equal amounts that don't necessarily have to do with each other. Like the big difference between Sony and Nintendo for you is you like one of their games, right? Because you don't like any Nintendo games and you think they're a shitty company, you dunk on them all the time. With Sony, it's more of a mixed bag. That's where the perception difference comes from, man. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I don't see the problem with that.
I'm not saying that there's necessarily a problem with that, but I'm saying like
because you're right. Sony actually does make games I give a shit about, not these fucking Nintendo kiddie games. That is a fact, you know.
And therein lies my point. Like, you are going to be ingratiated towards the company that you feel treats you better, and that you get better results and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know about this whole treating better. No company treats be better than another. I'm just a fucking number to them at the end of the day, you know.
I mean, that has been my experience, but whatever.
Yeah, I know that. By the way, you're being
I mean, you could also say the same thing about yourself, Brett, with how you've with how you were treated by the Sony.
I've been very clear about like my beef with Sony is my beef with Sony.
Yeah,
right. Like I have issues with Sony because I have had bad experiences that have been let to fall down the cracks, and I don't think that kind of shit should happen on the worst days. Right, like I don't agree with how the company. It's the same reason. It's kind of the same thing Tony sees with Nintendo. Like I see Sony like pulling all these bullshit moves, and I'm like, I don't like you. I do like some of your games, but I feel that they could do better. Which is when I generally criticize them. That's where I'm coming from. Like y'all have dominated gaming for 20 fucking years. Let's pull your shit together and lead the industry in a more gamer-friendly fashion instead of trying to part and parcel every little thing and just squabble with each other about who can give the least and get the most. How about you worry about legacy again, guys?
Yeah, and you know how to fix that, right? We got to get rid of Jim Ryan. I've also been saying that from the jump. I've said from the jump, Jim Ryan is bad for PlayStation, and he needs to fucking go. He is terrible.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't mean to say that you excuse everything Sony does. That's
you literally said you said I spread for Sony, bro.
Yeah, you take it. You take it because you like the games. You don't like it, but
I'm not taking anything. I don't feel any. There's nothing bad happening on my end. You know.
Let me ask you this:
with the exception of no fucking games coming out,
Tony,
you know.
Tony, here.
Yeah.
Are you going to buy a PlayStation 6?
Probably.
See. But
how's that taking it?
Because no matter what they do, you're going to buy their next console.
Okay, but here's my question.
He could say that to you. He could say you're going to buy the next Switch.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to what?
Buy the next Switch or whatever follows the Switch.
Nah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You can't buy Xbox. You could play their games anywhere. But Brett, basically the way okay, so you say that, and I hate doing this. What about you? But you have your bias too for Bethesda. You let anything slide with them. You know, and
I freely admitted that several times.
Okay, so basically, you can't come down on me for that shit when you do the same fucking thing.
I'm not. I'm just saying. That's where your biases lie, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have my own biases. And I'm very clear about that. But you got to understand, you got them too, and that's where they are.
Oh, of course. I know that. But the difference is, it's like, at least when it comes to Sony and PlayStation, it's like Nintendo that. It's just so much for me, man. Like there's just so much that stacks up.
Don't act like Sony's better than Nintendo.
But I never.
You just like
they are to me. I think they actually are a better company than Nintendo. Yeah, I'll fucking say it. So is Xbox. Because at least those companies are trying to move the industry forward. Not, let's just release some bullshit out-of-date console that these idiots are going to buy anyway just because they need their Mario and Zelda fix. It's fucking insulting what Nintendo does to their fan base. But the fan base, they're fucking idiots too because they're like, yeah, sure, Nintendo, yay! I mean, your motherfuckers crying, fainting and shit.
When was the last time Nintendo released a powerful console? What were you, like 9?
Actually, I was 21 when they released the GameCube.
Was the GameCube really powerful for its time?
Yes, it was more powerful than a PlayStation 2. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it released significantly later.
No, look, the goalpost. Come on, bro. Nintendo literally had Super Nintendo telling you this is a powerful console. Here's the Nintendo 64 bits. They were about that power before until they realized they couldn't compete on power. So they're like, let's do something else instead. Blue Ocean, Which ironically is what my Xbox is doing now with their Green Ocean. I'm calling it that. It's like, oh shit, we can't compete with these guys this way. Let's have a subscription service instead.
The reason we think about this differently is, as I've said, Nintendo tapped out of the console business a long time ago. This is just the new Game Boy. Fight me.
I mean, it is a handheld console.
Yeah, pretty much, But yeah, Nintendo's trash.
I mean, look, I'm not going to go so far as saying Nintendo's trash. It's just for me. It's just not anything for me. I don't. The last Nintendo console I owned was the Wii, and I only really bought the Wii because I don't know. I just needed something to play it, but before I got the PlayStation at the time. So, but again, for me. Oh, good.
Yeah. Brett, real quick. When it comes to PlayStation 6, what are the alternatives? I'm not buying an Xbox. I have a PC. I'm done with fucking Nintendo. So, what else is there?
I think it's too far out to tell.
You need a Blu-ray player.
I think it's too far out to tell. Like, I'm going to see how this generation shakes out. Like, I'm set to go through it. I'm probably not going to go all three consoles next generation. Like, this is, I bought a Switch. Let's see what Nintendo brings. I'm probably going to buy an Xbox just to get to Bethesda unless I get a chance to buy PC. I might just go full PC next gen because I think that's the only way we're getting actual generations from here on out. So
makes sense.
And Steam's a good company, man. They treat you well. They do nice stuff. And the problem with Switch is, like, I view it as a handheld. You view it as a console. So you've always viewed it as a failure.
Yep.
It has been a success as a handheld, and essentially the next Game Boy. But now there's all kinds of things that do that way better. So now I'm kind of frustrated there with you because you're not the best at even the niche that you're carving out. Steam Deck.
Well, they're not.
Just don't.
The thing about it is that they're not even trying to compete with the Steam Deck. Yes, it's a more powerful handheld or handheld console, whatever you want to fucking call it. But to be honest, again, like for Nintendo fans, they're not interested in the power. It's more about the games. And it's always been about the games. And we've always said, in general, what is it that sells consoles?
Games, yeah.
It's games.
Yeah.
So in the long run, just like any other, like a Nintendo, just like a PlayStation or an Xbox, it's the games that are selling these things. It has always been said that their first party has been the strongest aspect, and a lot of their third party ventures were literally pittance in comparison. Right, and the previous Nintendo consoles and handhelds.
Yeah, but I believe at a certain point, just because you can hold those hostage enough, like there comes a point where like you're almost beholden to your player base to upgrade their experience to keep with the times.
Yeah, they do upgrade them to the 2 generations ago. So we're next the Nintendo thing is going to be about as powerful as a PlayStation and an Xbox One. Watch.
Yeah, but they do it already because you've already hit the latest Pokemon game as an example. Like, all right, now I feel you guys are really letting your fan base down, and with such a rabid fan base who is willing to so loyally follow you to blatantly fuck them the way that you did with that game. Feels a little dishonest to me.
Are people that angry about that game?
There are a lot of people actually pretty angry about that game, but they'll take it because they want to play the game, and that's kind of
to be honest. In the end, Nintendo fans have to learn to vote with their wallets. If they don't want games like that, and they don't want things like that, well, they need to just pull support for it and not give them the excuse. Oh well, they thousands of people bought this, millions of people bought this game that we put out. All right, we're not changing the damn thing.
It's true. I mean, they kind of have a predatory ecosystem where they're starving out their audience from game releases to the point where they'll take a whole, just like we have AAA starvation were like, fuck it, some people played Saints Row just because they needed to play a AAA game.
And to be honest, like, you know, with the exception of that Zelda game, they've been pretty regular about releasing new titles. You know, first party.
Regular.
They've gotten more first party titles than both Xbox out.
That's the only thing. That's the only good thing I'll say about Nintendo. They're consistent with their output when it comes to first parties.
Yeah, whether it be a re-release of an old game, which they smartly put in between a bunch of their new games, you know.
They've always been good at like breadcrumbing you. That's one of the strengths Nintendo has as a company, and it sucks that you're being breadcrumbed, but it doesn't suck that at least there's always something kind of around the corner.
I mean, yeah, and that's something that at this point in this generation, Xbox and PlayStation have not been able to accomplish, because again, their games take so long to do, and they don't have enough things in the pipeline essentially to have a genuine, one of those sorts of release schedules. Nintendo can actually release one of their big Nintendo titles at the same time as any one of those third-party titles, because people will just buy both of them.
I'm gonna get hate for this, but like I feel Nintendo games have a little bit of a lower bar as well. Like I feel like if Hi-Fi Rush is a Nintendo exclusive, instant classic, but because it was released for everything, it was like it's a pretty good AA game.
Yeah, I definitely think so. If it was on Nintendo, it would have been an instant classic, because there's the fact that it looks good for what it is, and then it'll probably run okay for it. So they're not, Nintendo games aren't big. You know, the biggest titles they have are the Zelda and the Mario game, and then all the rest of the sort of smaller experiences.
Yeah. All right. I think we're done. Good show. Do we have anything to plug?
No, not right now. And Carlos, the I Am Negans is all on hiatus until the next Walking Dead thing comes along, right?
Mr. Romero, I think he's gone. I think they are on hiatus because Last of Us ended. There's no Walking Dead right now, so
yeah. So I Am Negan is on a bit of a hiatus until the next what is it, W something universe comes along.
I don't know. So many of those shows.
Oh, yeah. The CW verse.
The CW verse.
Oh no. Yeah. All right, man. So we're done here. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord where the conversations and the rumors are always popping. You can find us on any podcast app on the planet by searching for Throwdown Show. That's where it's Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you've been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed the content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres go live. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time. It's 9:00 here. That's crazy.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Hey, there he is. Brett Murdoch.
You'll learn to enjoy mediocre games.
And Brian Majoma.
Uganda. What are you doing?
Oh, what's going on? All right, people. We'll see you on Sunday. Later.
Laters.
Laters.